Okay, next is the alignment. Again, there is automatic alignment. So usually automatic alignment will work very well, but if you want to change the alignments, that you can use any one of these. So you have horizontal alignment and then directional alignment. So vertical, okay, so this way, you want to change bottom, center, or top, and then wrap around. So if you have let's see, if you do, let's say, sheet, right, header for sheet, and if you use wrap around is on, let's see what happens. I haven't tried these. Yeah.
Yeah, I got a question about the font actually. So is there a way to just bold the totals and like just that?
Yeah. Yeah. So here is total, grand total, and then you do bold. And so that will be for pane. If you do the header, then the header also will get bolded. Okay, alignment. Okay, sometimes the alignment, you may like to have. Okay, let's wrap around. I don't know why wrap around is not working. Okay, so let's see. Pane. Well, I'm going to clear that. So when you get stuck like this, you should experiment with it some more, and you'll probably get it. So okay, sometimes you may want to go this way. All right, not everything. Here, let's change it to columns, header. All right, so now only the region goes this way. So sometimes it's useful to have labels go that way for space purposes. Okay, so alignment, you can, you don't want the numbers to be aligned differently vertically this way. So the labels, you may want to experiment with it to see what would work best. Okay, and this is the format shading. Format shading is an important part of formatting, so that makes it easier for the text to, for us to read the text. And the default is, so you have the very light gray background and then no background. Okay, so that alternates. So that's the default shading that Tableau automatically uses. But you can change that. All right. So row banding, that's what that is. Row banding. So you have pane using that color, and then for header, the same banding is done. So you have the pane banding and row, and the header banding. So if you change the header banding, okay, so the header background is different than the pane background. But usually you want both the header as well as the pane to have the same banding. Okay. And sometimes you don't want any banding, in which case you just say none. Okay. So the banding is gone. Okay. And similarly, you can have like if you change the banding, I mean, this is not banding, this is background shading. So now if you use that shading, the entire pane gets shaded that way. Of course, this is really bad. You don't want, the idea of using colors, we'll talk more specifically about colors later on. The overarching idea is to highlight what's important so we will be looking at, in the storytelling book talks about how to effectively use color, and we'll talk about that later. So here again, totals again, these are divided exactly like how we did the fonts. Okay, shading also has the same scope, the entire worksheet or just the header or just the pane, and so on. And then in addition to that, in addition to these four, we also have banding in shading. Okay, so row banding, and you can do that. Okay. And the last one is borders, and we will talk about lines later on, because we haven't really talked about reference lines and so on. So we'll have to keep that for a little later. So this is just borders. So right now there are no borders, and again you have default, total, grand total, and then the row divider. So here if you have okay, so now you see the banding. Okay, so the color is kind of light, so let me really make it bright. So now that would be your default lines for cells. So only the cells get the lines, right? So inside of cells, not the outside of cells. And okay, right now there is a really very thin line there, as you can see. So if you don't want anything, you say none. Okay, so now pane. Okay, so that's for the pane. And then for header, okay, so header is the outside. And then of course the subcategory header too. And once again, these formatting, our overarching objective is to make the text table more readable and easily understandable. Okay. Now let's look at row divider. So row divider here will be, okay, so these are the row dividers. Now header, okay, so these are the headers. Okay. All right. Next, let's look at what we can do here to make it a little bit better. Okay, one thing we can do is these labels here that you see, you really don't need the labels. So we are trying to now, one of the principles that we must keep in mind is lessening the clutter, meaning too much stuff. Okay, when you don't need a particular label or whatever, it's better to get rid of it. So here, when you see central, east, south, and west, the header there region is really not necessary, because it is easily understandable that these are regions. You don't have to say regions at the top. Okay, so we can hide that. And same here. Okay, you don't need to say product category and then furniture, office supplies, and technology. Everybody knows these are product categories. At least inside the company, people would know, even if other people don't know. So we can hide that field. Okay, and the subcategory is also gone.